Ew, this structure is horrible.
Good evening. Please turn off your phones. Welcome to the March 6, 2024 regular meeting of Eureka Springs Historic District Commission. I'm Dee Bright, Chair. Commissioners present tonight are Maggie Haid, Christine Santamore, Frank Green, Susan Daniel, and Debbie Davis. Peter Graham is absent with notice. We have a quorum for business. The Eureka Springs Historic Commission is empowered by the Eureka Springs Municipal Code to issue a certificate of appropriateness for alterations of exterior architectural features, demolition and new construction within the boundaries of the Eureka Springs Historic District. The HDC uses the Eureka Springs Historic District Guidelines and the U.S. Department of Interior standards for the rehabilitation of historic buildings as the basis for our decision. The Commission can take the following actions on an application: approval, approval with modification, denial, or deferral for more information. Appeal of denial may be made to the Circuit Court. Public comments will be heard on each agenda item as it is called. Other public comments will be heard during the public comment period. Are there any changes or additions to tonight's agenda?
Just the one of changing the February 13th should be February 21st minutes.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Frank made the motion, Christine made the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Approval of applications does not excuse applicants, owner, or agent for compliance with any other applicable codes, ordinances, or policies of the City of Eureka Springs. We have no old business, new business. Level 3, 185 Spring, Green, owner applicant. Level 3, 1 Frisco, Holden, owner applicant. Okay, 185 Spring. Do we have someone present for, do you want to come to the mic and state your name?
Hi, my name is Latigo Troyer. I'm the contractor for this project.
Okay, Kyle?
The property is 185 Spring Street. They have put in a level 3 application for new construction for a new carport on the property made of cedar, a post and beam construction, approximately 20 by 20 foot. Upon reviewing the application, staff finds the following summary of facts. The site was previously occupied by a garage structure that has been demolished. The material is to include cedar posts. The total height will be approximately 13 feet, and the location will be on the north side of the existing structure, which is a contributing structure in the historic district. When reviewing the application, staff does make the recommendation of approval for this application.
Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make the motion to open the discussion for this. I make the motion to just open the discussion for this.
I'll second. Do we have any discussion? Questions for Latigo? Maggie made the motion, Christine seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0, or 5-0. Frank
I recuse myself.
Oh,
abstained.
Stands.
So we have one abstention because it's his property. Okay. Thank you, Latigo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Latigo.
Okay. Level 3, 1 Frisco. Do we have someone here to discuss this?
She looks familiar.
Does
Good
she?
evening. Hi, Judy Holden from One Frisco.
I'll read us the facts here in a minute.
Property at 1 Frisco owns the lots across the street. They have submitted a level 3 application for demolition of a structure that has an unknown construction date, and it is unknown what its status is in the historic district. There are no records in city files. There are also no records in the state survey that came through when they did the historic district survey. It is the building officials' recommendation that the building comes down for health and safety reasons. So I have one public comment that I need to read for this application. And then I think there's one more person here that would like to make a statement. So the first one, Kyle, there are some points. I'd like to say some concerns I have regarding the access being considered for the demolition at 1 Frisco Street. My wife and I own the property at 331 Dairy Hollow, and our access to the house is through Washington Street. Washington Street also provides our neighbor Rhonda Dixon with access to her property as well. Even though Washington Street is a city street, the city does not appear to maintain it. In fact, I had fill dirt brought in and had the street leveled, and I had to clear away trees from the street that fell during an ice storm. Several months ago, a contractor tried to approach the property on Frisco Street through Washington while Rhonda Dixon and I were present. We both voiced our concerns about that access since it would destroy the integrity of Washington Street. Access through Washington Street to the property on Frisco would also entail removal of trees, which the city frowns on. A more direct approach would be from Fuller onto Frisco. The property in question is just a few feet off Frisco, and this access would not require removal of any trees nor the destruction of Washington Street by heavy equipment. When the contractor was present several months ago, I showed him the access point on Frisco, and he took his equipment there, so I know it can be done with no destruction of trees or roadway. I may not be able to attend the March 6th meeting, but hope you will enter my concerns into the record regarding this matter. They've left their phone number. Thank you, Richard Mayberry. He did send one more to go with it. There are some other points I'd like to make regarding the use of Washington Street to access number 1 Frisco. And I would like to consider this note an addendum to my previous email to you and have you read it into the record at the March 6th meeting. When we spoke today, you mentioned the contractor wanted to use Washington Street due to the berm of dirt on Frisco Street that he said would cost the homeowner more money to remove in order for him to access the property to be demolished. Two things come to mind in regarding this reasoning. One, I don't think the berm is blocking access to the property. The trucks could go just beside the berm and do their work. Two, I don't think the city should be making decisions based on what is more economical for a homeowner. The burden to remove the house falls on the homeowner, and so should the expense. I'm against possibly destroying Washington Street with the heavy equipment in order to save the property owner money. One more thing to consider is if Washington Street provides access, it would require taking out some trees that, along with the bare spot left by removal of the house, could cause erosion and dirt deposition on the property directly below Frisco. If possible, I'd like the contractor to repair any damage caused to Washington Street should the commission decide on that route. I have had to maintain it to date and don't want it damaged. Thank you, Richard Mayberry. I also have two statements from the Public Works Director and the building inspector regarding accessing the property from Washington. First one is from Simon Wiley, Director of Public Works, says Frisco is basically a driveway to the house at the end of it. We maintain it to where it turns right towards the house. I don't foresee any traffic concerns utilizing Frisco aside from the one residence at the end of it. Please note that I had I just had Frisco graded last week. It is in good condition right now. Hopefully we can make sure that it is left in good condition once the demolition is completed. And then the one from building official Jacob Coburn says Kyle Washington Street is the easiest access point for the demolition and debris removal, but I will leave it up to the authority having control on this matter to decide. Before I ask Rhonda to come give her statement, there is one thing I want to point out. In our guidelines, I put on the application oh, sorry, I'm going to have to borrow your book, page 176. Page 176 of Eureka Springs HDC guidelines. Guidelines for infill construction and additions overview. Eureka Springs historic downtown and residential neighborhoods are attractive and charming. The unique character of the houses and setting contribute to demand for them, and the historic downtown is a lively and appealing commercial district. Preventing gaps in the street wall is one way to help maintain the community's vitality and cohesive character. Gaps in the street wall refer to empty lots between buildings, lots that historically had buildings. Building gaps representing missing buildings occur for a variety of reasons: catastrophic fire resulting in complete demolition, removal of a building long ago without a replacement constructed, or a recent removal of a building due to life safety issues. Regardless of the reason, constructing a building within the gap is an important remedy. Like a picket fence with missing pickets, gaps create the impression of economic decline and neglect. Infilling vacant parcels help to strengthen and enhance community appearance. The last paragraph on this is the one that we need to pay attention to. The Historic District Commission encourages new construction and infill development where appropriate. While the goal in any historic district is to retain, preserve, and maintain historic buildings and features through thoughtful care and management, a historic district does not prevent appropriate new construction. So it can be approved for removal for life and safety issues, and the commission can ask in a demolition case for the contractor to take the environment into consideration when doing a demolition project. So that's the information that I have from the guidelines. Rhonda, do you want to give your statement?
I made copies, which I think I've sent them around there. So
Yeah, if anybody wants to look at them.
I have it.
and I'll just read
Rhonda,
my statement.
pull this down.
Yeah, this is, I'm on my tippy toes to see it. Is it possible to pull this down a little bit? So I can see what I'm too short for it. Oh, well, that's good. That's great, yeah. Thank you, Kyle. I will just read my statement to you. My name is Rhonda Ravenscroft Dixon, and I live at 327 Dairy Hollow Road, which is directly down the hill from the property to be demolished. I am not opposed to this demolition, only to the plan to remove the debris down the hillside and out the driveway that I share with 331 Dairy Hollow. First, I want to give you the history of this decision. Several months ago, a man from Barron Excavation showed up in the drive with one of the biggest dump trucks you'll see in northwest Arkansas, dragging a flatbed trailer with a full-size tracked excavator on it. He wanted us, the neighbors were also present at the time, to move our vehicles out of the way. He was getting started on demolishing the falling down house behind, and he intended to use our driveway to come in and out. We all objected. I asked why HDC had not informed us of such a decision, and he told me that it had all been cleared through Judy, who was at the time on HDC committee. Judy is the property owner, and her house sits directly across Frisco from the falling down house, which also has a Frisco address and sits within 20 feet off the street. We pointed out that Frisco is maintained by the city right up to the house to be removed. Our driveway, which is technically Washington Avenue, is not maintained by the city. When our drive was washing out, the city didn't want to maintain it. We had to privately have it repaired. Big trucks and excavator going in and out will definitely damage our access. Washington Avenue is blocked off just beyond our buildings and also has large trees growing in it. So they would have to do something there. To get where he wanted, he would have to cross my property unless they cut trees that were in the way on Washington Avenue. Gary, and I know the man next door by the name Gary. Gary took the man up Frisco to show him where the building sat in relation to that street. There is a berm in front, which the man said was not a problem. He did not know about Frisco going directly to the house, as he had only been instructed to use our driveway. He did not see a problem with the berm that was placed in front of the house to keep people out. This is what Gary told me when they went up and talked. He came back and drove his truck and excavator up Frisco. He parked there for several days without starting demolition. I found out later that no permit had been issued either. There was no transparency here, just an attempt to do it without warning and by a committee member of HDC. That brings me to the present. Over 2 weeks ago, I saw several people up on the hillside, and that was several months ago, maybe 4 or 5 even, when the Barron man came in. I saw several men up on the hillside between my studio and the old house. When I walked up, I recognized Kyle and had a pretty good idea what it was about. Kyle, a man from Public Works, and the building inspector were having the site evaluation. I asked Kyle why, as adjacent property owners, we had again not been notified of this major demolition. He didn't answer that. I related to the men about the attempt to have Barron's come in and start dragging all the debris down our road without so much as a word to myself or Gary and Jan, who own 331 Dairy Hollow. We agreed that we do not want someone else's trash coming down our driveway to our detriment. Judy bought this property with the old house on it about 3 years ago, knowing that the house was falling down, and the house is halfway fallen down already. Now she is selling all her property and needs to remove the house. The city maintains Frisco, which runs up the middle of her property. The house where she lives is on one side, and the old house directly across Frisco, with the road closed off up above those houses. What possible reason is there to push off this demolition on adjacent property owners who have no involvement in this project and object to being disrupted by someone else's demolition? On the 21st of February, the day of the site visit, without mentioning it to me one way or the other, my truck, which was sitting up in that area, and I've got a photograph of it sitting there, was ticketed to be towed and impounded within 24 hours if I did not remove it from the city property. My truck is legally tagged and insured and was parked half on my property and half on Washington Avenue. It had every right to be on Washington Avenue even, is correctly tagged and insured. And it was not in the way. Not to mention, it was 6 days later that a letter about this impending demolition finally arrived, and 15 days before this meeting. So there wasn't going to be any kind of tearing down When I called the police about this, they said they didn't have anything to do with it. They didn't approve of it. It was all the building inspector because he wanted to come down that way. I want to be very clear. I am not against this demolition. The old house is already half fallen over and is a danger. What I am objecting to is a decision to negatively impact adjoining neighbors when it is unnecessary. The noise and dust and dirt, the damage to our privately maintained driveway, Washington Avenue, the soil that will undoubtedly wash down the hillside after heavy equipment coming and going in the spring rains are all negatives that we should not have to endure. I also have concerns for my very expensive stained glass, which is racked up on the side of my studio, and it's within 25 feet of where they are wanting to drive these trucks in and out. It is very close to where they want to go in and out. I worry about my glass getting cracked and damaged by the vibrations of heavy loaded equipment coming in and out. There is no good reason to impact 327 and 331 Dairy Hollow. And so I would ask you to restrict this demolition removal to Frisco so adjacent property owners don't have to bear the brunt of the removal. This is Judy's property. It should be removed down Frisco, which is maintained for Judy. It is to her benefit that it be removed. I hope you will consider these objections and require the removal on Frisco instead of through our yards. Thank you for your time.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, Rhonda.
thank you.
So I think we can make a motion for discussion now, but I also want to let you know I've invited Bob Kelly, who's the contractor on the project. He was willing to come down and answer any questions that you guys might have on the proposal for the project.
Okay. I have a question before we go any farther.
Yeah.
Judy, was the summary of facts correct?
Sorry, let's open it up for discussion and then,
Well, we haven't
Oh.
finished. We're not ready for that. We
Gotcha.
jumped ahead.
Gotcha.
Was the summary of facts that Kyle read correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, do I have a motion for discussion?
I move we discuss the property on Frisco Street and the demolition of the house.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion, questions?
Well, the city doesn't maintain, which is it, Washington Street or is it Fresno?
West Washington Street, they maintain Frisco,
Well, why don't
apparently.
this is Washington Street right here.
yes.
Is that what this is, Washington Street?
Yes.
Well, why in the world is the city not maintaining that street?
So it does not go, so it, let me tell you what I've given you too. So this packet here that I've given out at the table, it is not included in the application packet. So I want to make sure that you had it. So the first couple of pages are the legal description. The next couple of pages are the city's zoning maps to give you an idea of where it sits inside city boundaries. So Washington Street does this weird thing where it runs across the top of the hill, disappears for a while, and then reappears in what is essentially Rhonda's yard. Yeah, and then it crosses Dairy Hollow and goes back up the hill on the other side. So Washington in that area right there is kind of a weird situation.
Rhonda, you have to be at the mic to speak.
You have to come up.
You have to be at the mic to speak so it can be on the recording.
I just wanted to say the way it's rough terrain, and Washington has probably never gone all the way up. It's supposed to go all the way up to White Street, I think. But it just goes 200 feet up our drive, and we're the only thing on it.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question,
May I
Frank?
add something?
Yeah,
Thank
Judy?
you.
In regards to the house, the access to the house, the front of the house, did not face me on Frisco. The front of the house faces Rhonda's house. So the access to that house originally was up Washington and to the house. So we're just taking the original street, Washington Street, where there's far less trees and maybe little saplings that he can get between to take away all the rubbish. He's not putting a big garbage can out there or anything. It's probably maybe 3 truckloads. And he has his
That
trucks.
house
that'll-
that you're demolishing,
I'm sorry?
the house you want to take down, did
It doesn't exist on any map. That's why 4 months
Did it
ago,
originally have a Washington Street address?
it's not registered anyplace.
Yeah, we don't
checked
know. We don't have
We
any
don't know
record
that.
on it.
Rhonda, you can't talk unless you're at the mic. I'm sorry. You have to come to the mic each time.
So, and I did not plan this demolition like I was accused of just to make money, as my house is no longer for sale. I am demolishing it by the request of Eureka Springs City Department, by Kyle and by Jacob. They approached me to get rid of it, and I agreed to pay thousands of dollars to get it out. If we cannot use Washington Street access, I will have to build another lane or street to get access to it, where Washington Street is right there. The corner of turning into Frisco also is very hard for the equipment to get into, and there's a big hill that was put there before I even bought the house to end Frisco. So they cannot easily access it at all because there's a great big hill that dirt was dumped there way back in 1960. So you cannot come up Frisco and get to that house as easily as you can on Washington Street. I am not affecting their lanes at all into their house. We're just going on to a city street. Do you have any questions? I have the contractor here, and he can explain any questions that you have.
Kyle, I think this is a question for you, Kyle. Did I misunderstand when you read the letters previous from the, not Simon, or maybe it was Simon, that Washington had been graded recently?
That was from Simon, and it was Frisco that has been graded recently.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
In the letters from Public Works and Jacob, did they both state that Frisco was usable? I mean, I've written that in my notes here.
Let me just pull that up.
One other thing while he's looking, I would like to mention is that, yes, I did in July ask the contractor to come, like she said, because when I came to City Hall and asked about or looked at the plans or what the house number was, the house doesn't even exist. So with the house not existing, I didn't think I had to ask anybody because it's never been on any street since, I don't know, maybe the 50s or 40s, or it's never been registered. So I find it ironic. So we stopped. I did nothing once I talked to Kyle and said, well, you might better apply. And he said, but it doesn't exist. What am I applying for? It doesn't even have a number, a street number, that house. So that was true, but we didn't do anything. We stopped as soon as I talked to Kyle.
Sorry, what was the question on the other emails?
On Simon's from Public Works, what does he say about Frisco Street?
It's just short. I'll read it again. Kyle, Frisco is basically just a driveway to the house at the end of it. We maintain it to where it turns right towards the house. I don't foresee any traffic concerns utilizing Frisco aside from the one residence at the end of it. Please note that I had just had Frisco graded last week. It is in good condition right now. Hopefully we can make sure it is left in good condition once the demolition is completed.
And what did Jacob, the building inspector?
I don't know where Simon says you can turn right, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm not
There's
sure
no
what he means.
driveway there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he means about
Turns
turning right
left
either.
into my house.
Yeah. And then the one from Jacob, Kyle, Washington Street is the easiest access point for the demolition and debris removal, but I'll leave it up to the authority having control on this matter to decide.
Wasn't there something said about a street just being graded? It was in good shape, or
That's Frisco, yeah.
it's Frisco?
That's
Yeah.
from the Public Works. So
That's from
he just-
Simon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Frisco goes up and meets Fulton, is that right?
The road that goes between like the Harmon Park and that house, that first house right there is called Fuller. If you go up Fuller, Frisco is going to be the road on the right, heading
Going up
the
Fuller.
hill. Yeah.
Yeah, you can come.
Yeah, you can come up to the mic. Yeah.
I don't agree with a lot of what was said. Number one, Washington Avenue, such as it is there, they did refuse to maintain it a couple of years ago. They said, we're not bothering with it. So we've been maintaining it. But the trees in Washington Avenue are not saplings. They're trees. There's trees in Washington Avenue. And it's not, it has a great big berm on the end of it too, where it's been plugged up so that it doesn't even go as far as Frisco. As far as the house up there, when I came to this town, I knew the people that lived in that house. Danny and Mimi Fadrell. It had an address on Frisco, and the front door was on Frisco. I went into that front door. I know it was on Frisco. The house is all fallen in now, so there's no door that you can go in anywhere. But there weren't any doors on the back. This is just a big hillside that comes down directly down to my property. That's basically what I felt like the need to be.
What do you guys think? I think site visit. What do you guys think? I think site visit. would be
So we can get a visual.
Yeah. Yeah, a site visit.
So I would like to postpone this for a site visit, if somebody would make that motion. Christine, and would you remove your motion and Frankie your second?
I remove my motion for,
Well, and change it for a site visit.
and change it that we will do a site visit on the property.
I'll second.
Okay. Christine made the motion. Frank seconded. Do you want to discuss the site visit or just vote on it? I mean, Kyle can set it up for us. Okay. All in favor for a site visit, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay. Nay.
Okay.
Okay. So
May I request that it be done as soon as
not
possible?
in the middle of a vote. Motion carries 5-1 for a site visit. Okay, now you may talk.
4-1.
Go ahead.
May I ask the site visit be done as soon as possible? I'd appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is there a day that does not work for anybody? So tomorrow I could do like a late afternoon, like 3:30 or later. Friday, I think I can do anytime on Friday. Does that conflict with anybody here?
I can do it tomorrow.
Can't do Friday?
Yeah,
You
Friday's
can't.
not good.
Friday's not good.
I could do tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
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 Friday's check-in tomorrow.
Okay. So can I set it up, I guess let me ask you too, 4 o'clock tomorrow?
Sure.
Does that work? Do you mind being there for that? If you can't, that's fine too. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Good evening, y'all. I'm Bob Kelly with Kelly's Excavating, and I just want to clear the record. It wasn't Barrel's Excavating that showed up. It was Kelly's Excavating that showed up there. And I did not leave my machine. I pulled up, we looked at it, then we had issue with her, so I seen we needed to look into it more, so I loaded up and went on to another job. But my plans are, if you all are okay with it, if we did go up Washington Street, I'm not dragging material down on anybody else's property. It'll be staying on her property. And I'll just be backing up and just tearing it down and put it in a dump truck and it gets hauled off. And if the road is damaged when I'm done, you can send the building inspector or anybody. When I'm done, I can let you all know that I'm done. And if it is damaged, I'll repair it. It's a hard surface road. And coming in the other way, there's a steep bank, probably about good 8 to 10 foot tall, a berm, that if we do go that way, the environmental people have to be involved in it because we'll have to remove some dirt down and probably put silk fence up and all that stuff. So it will cost her more money. So, and she's aware of that. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. If you all got any questions for me, how it's going to happen. There is some big trees, like she was saying, that's correct. But I'm not taking down no big trees. It will just be there's some small saplings, probably about 6 inches at the biggest. That's going to be taken down just so I can get my machine in there without tearing it up. And then I can just back right up to it there, and get to it. So,
Would you be willing to meet us down there at the site visit at 4 tomorrow?
I really can't because I left tonight my job to come here. If y'all want to pay me my wages, I would, but I really can't do it tomorrow, honestly. Okay. Sorry about that. But if you got any questions after you all look at it, you're welcome free to call me, and I can.
I still have you on my phone.
Okay. So, is there anything else I can answer for y'all? Anything on that? Like I said, I'll repair that road if I damage it. I'm not going in there when it's wet or raining or mud. We're not going to do that. I've been doing it for 40 years, so I got a pretty good record, I think, here in town. I haven't heard anybody have me arrested yet. So, anyway, that's all I wanted to let y'all know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come to the mic.
Where they're talking about coming down and it's just saplings, it does impact on my property.
Well, we're going to come out tomorrow and have a look, okay?
Yes. And you'll be able to see how very close it is to my stained glass, which is racked up there. Any kind of heavy truck, and this was it's a big truck that you brought in there. As big as you're going to see in northwest Arkansas. Loaded
Yes.
up with stuff coming down 20 feet from my glass and my studio.
Okay. Well, we're going
is
to
a
come out
danger.
and do a site visit tomorrow, and then we'll,
My neighbors are out of town, so they won't be able to be there, but I will be there. Thank you.
okay, thank
Thank you.
you. We have no consent agenda. Administrative approvals by our City Historic Preservation Officer or minor impact projects include ordinary maintenance that does not involve a change in materials, new and replacement signs, alterations to non-contributing and/or non-historic structures, excluding major additions or demolition. Minimum impact projects that meet design guidelines, and those are listed on our website. Commissioner business, approval of minutes from February 7th, 2023. Do I have, let's see.
I move that we approve,
Well,
do you want
this
to go?
February 7th, we didn't approve last week because we got them during the, or 2 weeks ago because we got them during the meeting. I'm trying to remember who was at the 7th.
I don't think you were there.
I was there.
Christine was
Maggie
there.
wasn't
Maggie-
there. Were you
Okay.
on the 7th?
On the
She
7th?
wasn't there on the
Oh, it was
21st.
the 21st? I knew you were absent
So I
for a
think you
while.
were there on the. I
think I was on the 7th.
You, Christine, Frankie, and I, and Susan, you were there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have 5 people that can vote on that. Do I have a motion to approve the February 7th, 2024?
I move that we approve the minutes of February 7th, 2024.
Second.
And that was, who approved? Oh, Maggie?
And Frankie.
And Frankie seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
I abstain because I wasn't here.
Or wait, 1, 2, 3, 4-0. Because I don't, 4's enough. I don't have to vote. And in our commissioner business, it does say 2023. It is 2024.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, approval of minutes for February 21st, 2024. On that one, Maggie is absent, so Susan,
there.
Christine, Frank, and I have to vote. Okay. So do I have a motion?
I move we accept the meeting minutes of February 21st, 2024.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Christine made the motion, Susan seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, discussion of form for July and August. July 31st? Forgotten the dates.
Yeah, I think it's July 31st through August 4th. So related to that, we did get, I'll just read this real fast. Dear Mayor Berry, I am pleased to inform you the City of Eureka Springs has been awarded a grant of $13,400 from the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program to fund in-state and national conference attendance by city staff and members of the Historic District Commission. The agency will contact you with details concerning the terms and conditions of this grant. Congratulations and thank you for your commitment to the preservation of historic resources in Arkansas. Sincerely, Scott Kaufman, AHPP Director, State Historic Preservation Officer. This money will be used to pay for the forum conference as well as the camp conference in October. Yeah.
I think
October?
October in Hot Springs, right?
Yes, in Hot Springs.
Okay. Question, last time, Christine, you said you were interested in
Yes.
form,
Yeah, I want to go.
and
When is it, October?
you both were no.
You're talking about the
July
Florida one?
31st,
Oh, July.
August
For
4th.
for the where-
This is for
Palm
forum.
Beach, Florida.
I'm not sure I should
Where's it
make a
gonna
commitment
be
to
at?
it.
West
Okay.
Palm Beach. It's every 2 years. It's every 2 years. We don't have a yearly meeting. So you two are still no's. You're still a yes. Debbie?
I have a conflict.
Debbie has a conflict. Frankie, are you rethinking
I'm
this?
thinking it.
You should go for it.
Will you think overnight and at 4 o'clock tomorrow you let us know?
Okay.
Because airfare keeps going up.
Okay.
All right, so we'll have
This old
a
travel
Well, we
agent
have
has
a
been
grant.
watching it since December. I
so
know.
we'll have a final count tomorrow.
So right at the moment, I've got Christine, you, myself, and maybe Frankie.
Okay.
And Peter's not. If we can't chase Peter down in the next day or two.
Yeah, I will.
Just have to
I'll
make
get with him in
that
the next
call.
couple days. Yeah.
Okay. And, yeah, the last time I looked, and I haven't looked in a week, it had gone up to 315, which is still much better than the 600 and something it was all fall.
315 is a good price.
315 is a good price, so, and that's right into West Palm. So we wouldn't have to rent a car and stuff.
And last year we did not use all the money that they allocated for, or sorry, 2 years ago, we did not use all the money they allocated for forum. And so we were able to use that money for local education things too. So for those of you that aren't able to go, we'll do some local education stuff and use some of that money for local education, so.
Kyle, what are the dates again? July what?
July 31st, which is a Wednesday. Let me get my
Wednesday?
book here. We would travel, the dates I have been looking at, traveling on the 31st and coming home on the 4th.
That's a Sunday, isn't
That's
it?
a Sunday. Wednesday is arrival and check-in. Thursday is, they have, if you go to the, I was going to send this to
No, I
Christine.
just saw this
I
again
will
today.
send out,
I think I'd like to commit tomorrow.
if you do
I can.
national, I'll send you the website. They talked about one of the tours they're going to have for Thursday, and it did sound through the historic, so it did sound interesting. I'll send that link. They are starting to plan things. The hotel is not open yet, but we know which hotel, and I've forgotten now.
I didn't bring it either.
I think it's 165.
Yeah,
night,
I think so.
anyway. Well,
Is it okay with you if I tell you tomorrow?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
and then come home on Sunday the 4th. So Friday and Saturday are full days of conference. Sunday morning, and that depends on people's flights out, that's a half a day. Sometimes people have to leave early, so, and they know that.
So it's a 2-day conference, Friday, Saturday?
Well, Friday, Saturday, that you're in the conference rooms, have people lecturing and PowerPoints, all of that.
It's like Baltimore.
And yes, exactly like
Oh, we
Baltimore.
went there.
When you went there. And Thursday is always the day of usually a bus group someplace. It just depends on what all they plan. They usually have 2 activities you can plan, or we can do something that doesn't interest. We can go see other historic things there. Wednesday evening, they usually have some type of social get together and welcome.
I just have one
you
thing
been
to
before
do.
to Form, David? No.
When we went to Baltimore, we took a train into D.C. It was really nice. All of us.
So, but that is, since it's only every 2 years and you get to meet
Yeah, I think I'd like to try and
Bob
look at my
Yap,
schedule
who
at
was here
home.
this weekend for our window thing. He is at every one of them. And, there's some of them that's, you
Well, I
get
know you guys have raved about them.
all across the nation, you've got people. So I'll send you the link so you can read all that.
And I probably have it. I just kind of changed my schedule just a little bit to work, and so now I wanted to make that work.
Nice.
Okay. So, next on our list, discussion Main Street co-sponsorship funds.
Where are we on the agenda? I'm sorry.
Number 4. So the last meeting, we did not have enough people present to vote on this. It's been kind of a sticky situation. So the city had asked us to reconsider helping sponsor that.
And I need to say I'm with Main Street and I'm
Oh,
withdrawing from any
Yes.
of this conversation.
thank you.
So Christine, would you
Yes.
take charge?
Thank you. Dee and I serve on the board of the Main Street Eureka Springs organization, which one of their missions is preservation education, which is also the mission of Historic District Commission. We went over the Preservation Commission ethics publication last week, had a discussion on what is and isn't appropriate, and just kind of left the conversation open. Since then, the person who was providing the site is no longer a city council person, so that conflict isn't really a conflict anymore. But because we didn't have enough people to vote last time, we're bringing it back to the table for you guys to decide how you would like to handle that with all the information presented to you. So I will leave that to you guys to make a decision.
Well, since I was there, Dee was there part of the time, but I was there the whole time. And I know some of the concerns were about where it was and the extent of it. But in my estimation, it's really the only place it could have been presented. Bob Yap. His requirements, he wanted double hung windows. We only did 2 windows. We did not do all the windows. And he needed a huge room. I mean, we filled the room with tools and materials, and I don't know where else in this town could have handled that. And it was a fantastic weekend.
So Dee can't say anything. I don't really want to guide you guys in a direction to avoid a conflict of interest. So basically, I guess what you guys need to do, make a motion, make that vote, and then we can move on. If it's something that you feel we need to walk away from, nobody's going to be offended. There's plenty of other educational opportunities that we can be part of. So don't feel pressure. The workshop still happened. It did not keep the workshop from happening. So I hope that's enough information.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How much were the funds that were contributed to?
They voted to allocate $350.
I make a motion that we always take a look at it every time this opportunity comes up. There's just in my mind, there's just no reason why we wouldn't participate in something that has to do with historical renovation.
So Maggie, are you asking that we approve the expenditure
Yes.
for that workshop?
Yes.
Okay.
That's your motion?
Yes.
I second.
So you're in charge while Dee's recusing herself. So
Okay. I rescind my second.
thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay. So there's a motion and a second. So you can go ahead and call for a vote.
So Maggie has moved that we approve this expenditure, and Debbie has seconded it, and I call for a vote. Maggie?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Debbie?
Aye.
So the ayes have it. 3 ayes.
So it needs 4
votes.
to pass. Yeah. So sorry, this is difficult. So any motion needs 4 votes to pass. So there's 4. There's 1 that has voted no. Don't feel like you have to vote. So if we want to let it stand at 3, that's fine. If you feel like you need to put the 4th vote out there, no pressure. But that's where it stands right now.
So I can vote.
You can.
Yes, I vote yes.
Okay. So
it passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Or 4-1, sorry.
4-1.
Yes. So the motion passes 4-1.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
It was 4-1, is that it?
And 1 abstained,
Oh, yeah.
because I'm
understand.
abstaining.
Thank you.
So you've got 4-1-1.
Okay.
Okay. Next meeting is March 20th, 2024. Level 3 applications due Thursday, March 7th. Level 2 applications due Wednesday, March 14th. Agenda setting for March 20th, 2024 meeting. Does anyone have anything they'd like to put on the agenda?
No.
Okay. Public comments, we have no one in the audience.
Dee, one question. Do we have to put on the agenda now about the property on Frisco?
No, because Kyle automatically, we have a site visit tomorrow, and then Kyle just because we didn't finish it.
Okay.
So it will go under old business here, where we usually have none. We will have old business next
Okay.
time. Unless we do a special meeting, that, I guess we discuss that tomorrow.
So
Okay.
our site visit's at 4 tomorrow, right?
The site visit's at 4 tomorrow, and pull up on Washington?
Yes, so there is room. If everybody drives separate, there's still room. Does anybody not know? If you don't know, raise your hand. Okay, that's okay. Are you familiar with Polk coming down to Dairy Hollow from Spring Street?
Is Dairy Hollow the same as Grand?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll help. And I know where Judy's property is.
Okay. So Grand, if you drive past the dog park on Grand, it's going to be the second road on your left.
It's,
Okay.
remember that house that we had earlier in the year that they wanted to tear down the garage next to
Yeah.
the
Right by the
electrical?
electrical.
It's right
Yeah.
across the
Oh,
street.
yeah, right across
Okay.
the street. Yeah.
So I guess if there's not enough parking, we can.
And they never
park
have
over
torn
there.
that down.
Yeah, and I'll show up early and kind of stand out by the road and flag
Flag
everybody
as well.
in. So watch for me. Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your willingness to do that.
Commissioner comments, Maggie.
Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Glad to be back at the table, and thank you.
Susan,
Nada.
Christine,
Yeah, welcome back, Maggie and Debbie.
thank you.
I'm glad to be here.
We're glad you're here.
Glad you're here. Okay, Debbie, any comments?
No, just that I'm
Frankie?
I'm just glad that Debbie's here.
My comments, the workshop was fantastic. I was there for Saturday, part of the morning, then came back about 2:30. And then I was there all day Sunday. It was wonderful. We actually, I got to insulate windows, and I was looking at mine at the border house. Mine are just 1/1. Those people were poor, so I didn't have fancy windows at my house. But it was really, everybody that came and participated, they were just very thankful that we had it and just worked great. I mean, it was really, you thought everybody knew everybody forever. I mean, we did have a guy drive in from Kentucky. That was our farthest one.
Oh, wow.
And a young guy. We had several young people, several people from Eureka Springs was there, but we had a good mixture,
Good.
just wonderful. Kyle?
Thank you. So I've got a couple of things. Just so everybody's aware, June 19th, which is a Wednesday, is a federal holiday. So city offices will be closed. Let's not plan on having a meeting
This
on June 19th.
Okay.
Okay, so starting tomorrow, the National Park Service is doing a webinar series on the tax credit program, which is gaining popularity because the state of Arkansas has raised their tax credit to 40% of the project, which is a significant amount of money. So National Park Service will be doing 5 webinars. Main Street Eureka Springs has been gracious enough to open up their space. This is kind of a weird venue to do a webinar. I don't have any room in my office, and so they were gracious enough to open that up. I will be there to answer any questions anybody has. And then at the end of that series, we are looking at inviting Amber Jones, who is an expert and a consultant specifically for Arkansas tax credits. So she will come, she will give a presentation, and then she can answer questions on the Arkansas application specifically. But I think this will be beneficial to several property owners in town. There's a couple of projects going on right now that they're utilizing this tax credit program. And so I think people can benefit from that information. Tomorrow it will be from 1 till 3. And then it'll be weekly after that, usually on Thursdays. There's one that's on a Tuesday. But I will post this on the ES Preservation website as well. And then Main Street Eureka Springs has put it on their Facebook to advertise that. Dee said the window restoration boot camp was amazing. Bob Yap, if you don't know who he is, he's famous in preservation. He did a PBS series on home renovations, focusing on preservation practices. And he goes around the country giving these workshops. He had really nice things to say about Eureka Springs. He said this was one of the best workshops that he's done. And so thank you everybody who helped make that possible. Wandery for providing the space, Eureka Springs Preservation Society for helping to finance that, HDC for helping to finance that, Main Street Eureka Springs also financed that, and then I was excited to see Shiloh Museum. They are in Springdale. They have a mini historic district of their own, 7 historic buildings that they maintain. They sent their preservationists to learn how to do the windows for their property. Historic Cane Hill, they sent their preservationists out to learn how to do window restoration. They've got a significant number of buildings there that he is now confident that he knows what to do for those historic structures. And then there were several local people who came that will benefit from that too. So thank you everybody who made that possible. I think one more announcement I have. Strong Towns, which is a planning organization, community development organization, they have a, what's the word I'm looking for? Not really a contest. Well, I guess it's kind of a contest. So Eureka Springs has been nominated for their strongest town in progress and public engagement. We're put up against 3 other cities. Go to strongesttown.com. It'll be up until tomorrow at noon. You can vote for Eureka Springs. I'm not trying to influence your vote. There are 3 other cities that have put their project on there. You can learn what other communities are doing with the Strong Towns program. But go vote for Eureka Springs.
So it's kind of like a competition against these other cities?
Yeah, so on the progress and public engagement, Eureka Springs is one of the 4 cities, and they all have put what they have done recently to strengthen their public engagement, how they interact with the community. And there's 3 other categories. One of them is streets. I don't remember what the other 2 are. But I encourage you to check it out. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you, everybody, for committing to this. I appreciate your time.
Any other comments? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Christine made the motion, Maggie seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Or